Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to my webinar. My name is Ralph George. I'm the founder and the creator of SmileFy. We do have all around the world. We have 730 registrations. Don't worry, we record everything what we do and we send you the screen recording. So that you have the entire webinar with the screen recording and all the details in the best quality. So I hope everything is fine. You can hear me, you can see me. My name is Ralph George. I am the founder and the creator of SmileFy. The vision that I had for Smile Design was to create a tool for chairside, which not only automates smile design procedures and workflows, but also includes the knowledge and the expertise of studies in the area of aesthetics, in the area of smile design over decades. So that you can design a smile using all these tools like smile analysis, ratio, proportions, and you can create for your patient the most beautiful smile, facially driven, in harmony with the face. But before we start and go deep into details, usually that was my life before attending congresses, conferences all around the world. So I organized also smile design courses for thousands and thousands of dentists all around the world until I decided to move my life from the land to the sea. And now, as you can see, I'm not only designing smiles, but I also repair diesel engines and continue my life innovating from the sea. Good. So let's start with the smile design. Where is the app? Oh, here we go. So the idea is with everything what we do to be able to have a tool to analyze the patient's face using AI, automatic facial analysis, and so on, offer the patient a quick smile simulation to motivate the patient for an aesthetic treatment, and then to have a tool to create a 3D smile that we can print, we can create a blueprint for the result of the new smile, including comprehensive treatment plans, including ortho, including airways, everything automated and everything in one tool. So I'm going to show you step by step how we proceed and how the workflow is done, so that you understand more how everything works. So now the thing is, the app runs on iPhone, iPad, and Mac, so you can use all three devices. And with the iPad is really easy to walk around in the office and then to take a picture, and from there to start a discussion with the patient. Good. We do have a patient. For smile designs, we need a frontal facial smile, a good picture like this, a big smile so that we have enough space in the mouth to design. And as you can see, the picture is frontally, the smile is perfect frontally taken. We have a big smile, we have the entire face, so don't try to crop the face, or we need a full head, and the shoulders, the frame, the shoulders are in the frame. That's good enough. The picture is not too big, so we don't need the full body in the picture. We need only the head, a little bit of shoulders, and a big smile so that we have enough space in the mouth to design. For the 3D design, we do need an intraoral scan, and the intraoral scan has to be as clean as possible. Number one, we always need the palatal area. The palatal area will be used to calibrate several files from the patient. For example, after ortho, right? We will work with the position of the teeth. Then we will superimpose. We'll calibrate the old and the new scan using these landmarks in the palatal area, and then we will have the same smile design now over the corrected position of the teeth, but that's a different workflow. So the scan is clean. We don't have soft tissue. You see, everything is clean. Everything is closed. So don't scan and let some holes in the scan, because that's a problem. The software is gonna close the holes, but it's not gonna be accurate. So we need a beautiful, accurate, clean scan to be able to design the smile properly without problems. It is way easier to learn to scan clean, to create good digital records from the patient, because then everybody involved in the smile design is going to save a lot of time. When we have the picture, what we do, we start with the smile simulation, because we want to show some patients there is room for improvement in the area of aesthetics. So please, if you have some questions, just ask in the chat. I'm going to answer your questions, so we can have, you know, a presentation of a certain area. And then if you have questions to this topic, please ask, and then we can communicate. I'm going to keep an eye also on the chat. So in the first step, the software is analyzing the face. We do have the facial flow, the result of the facial flow. The facial flow is a study written by Kyle Stanley, Bruno Pereira, Eduardo Mann, and Christian Coachman. The facial flow study or analysis of the face shows you that the midline of the face is usually not a midline. So these 4 points, glabella, tip of the nose, philtrum, and chin, they are never on a line. You have patients where the nose is a little bit to the right or to the left. You have patients where the chin is shifted. That's why this analysis shows us, and it's very important, the facial flow of the patient. Why is it important? Because based on this study, if our design follows the facial flow, we will get a design which is very so facially driven, and it looks very natural in the face of the patient. The detail is the following one. Let me open the study, and then I can show you the just a second. Facial flow. Good. Here we go. That's the clinical report, and it shows, that's a beautiful example here. So the midline is not a midline, it's a curve. When we design the smile and we don't follow the facial flow, the smile, it's not going to look natural. If the smile is straight in a face which has a facial flow, it creates tension, visual tension, through crossing lines in the face. As you can see, The smile follows the chin. It looks natural. It is more or less following the lower lip curve, and that looks natural. If this smile, and we can try in the app, if this smile, right, is straight and the distance between the tip of the incisal edges of the teeth and the lower lip is different and is straight and the lip is curved but in an angulation, it doesn't look natural. So we try to design a natural smile for our patient, following all these important expertise and studies over decades in the area of aesthetics. Ideally, the interpupillar line and the commissural line, these two lines are parallel. This line, interpupillar line, and the commissural line is parallel. And then we have the smile frame, which is the basis of our smile design. And here we go. So very important, and that's a detail that creates the smile in a very, very natural and different way. The smile curve has to follow the lower lip. If the lower lip is a curved one, you want the smile to follow the lower lip. So you are not going to design a smile which is straight, right, on a curved lower lip. You want to follow the lower lip, and then you create the facial harmony and a facial energy, which is really outstanding. Then we have the ratio, which shows actually 80. A ratio of 80 means that the height of the central incisor is 100% and the width is 80. So when we go with a ratio of 100 to 80, we do have an ideal design, an ideal ratio. And we can try to achieve this ideal ratio for our patient. Of course, the ratio depends on the height of the central incisors, which we don't see because we have the upper lip covers the gingival margins. That's why a smile simulation cannot be a clinical planning for a smile. The 2D smile simulation was 15 years ago a very innovative concept. But right now, with 3D technologies, we cannot use the 2D smile as a reference for the treatment. We use the 2D smile for motivating the patient, for opening the discussion regarding an aesthetic treatment, and to find out some preferences of the patient. And I'm going to explain to you later. But nevertheless, it is important to understand all the aspects of smile design using also this smile simulation, because it's going to help us for the 3D smile design. Good. So we create now 4 smiles. As you can see, we do have round shapes, open embrasures. We have closed embrasures, we have triangular shapes, and we have mixed shapes. The idea is to show the patient several options and then to select one option here. And now we have some questions that we can discuss with the patient. So I'm going to reduce a little bit the brightness of the smile so that it looks more natural with the picture. So the brightness of the teeth, the new smile, has to be, of course, adjusted to the brightness of the picture. And now let's discuss the smile design questions or aspects of patient's preferences. One of the very important aspects of a smile is the dominance. The dominance of the smile means that the laterals are touching the smile curve or are shorter than the smile curve. This kind of smile makes the patient younger, edgy, the facial harmony changes completely. So now the question is, dear patient, do you like a monotonic smile or do you like a dominant smile? Laterals shorten. The patient says, I like the dominant smile more. Okay, then we know for the 3D design, we will create our smile more dominant. I add here a little bit of shadow of the on the upper lip. You see, it looks way more natural because then we do have this 3D in this feeling of the new smile simulation. So that's the smile harmony. Then we can also show the patient different forms of the teeth, triangular, tipped canines, flat canines, different templates. We can change the midline in case we have a patient where the dental midline doesn't match the facial midline. Then we can change the smile using the slider, the midline of the smile, and occlusal plane, which is also more or less the curve of SPI, can be adjusted. You see, and then we can here adjust and follow the lower lip for more harmony in the face. That's pretty it with the smile simulation. So the smile simulation has only one purpose. Do you see the advantage of an aesthetic treatment? That's not going to be your 3D smile. That's not going to be your final treatment plan. Because 3D smile designs, treatment plans, ortho, so many moving pieces in creating a new smile that the 2D smile design, it's not going to be the result of, so you cannot promise the patient this smile. But you can say, do you see the advantage of an aesthetic treatment? Which way do we want to go? Dominant smile, closed embrasures, square embrasures, incisal embrasures, and so on. So you have an open discussion with the patient, and then you get some ideas what the patient expects. The patient is motivated, of course, wants to continue. The SmileFy Ava or SmileFy Avatar creates out of this picture a video, AI video of the patient moving, smiling, moving the lip, so that you see a little bit more how the new smile changes the face of the patient. And now the cloud is generating the video, the AI video, and it's gonna take a couple of minutes, but we wait, and then you show the patient also the video with the new smile. So what options do we have here? More midline, curve of SPI, which we can change. Curve of SPI. The lip here also is AI selected, but we can correct the points in case we do have some things to correct here, like this. That's better. So curve of SPI, very, very easy to change. The midline, and very important, the rotation posteriors, because sometimes you have a canine which has a different rotation. And then it's important to, or inclination. And then it's important to have also the option to adjust the buccal corridor and adjust the angulation of your premolars based on the inclination of the canine. Again, it is a 2D smile. It is, we don't have any clinical details because we don't have the CBCT, we don't have the intraoral scan. It's a motivational step. You see, it's not a big deal that can be really learned in few minutes, 1, 2 designs, and then you can show your patient chair side in few minutes a result of the simulation and open the discussion for the aesthetic treatment. Our video is ready, and here we go. That's our patient with the new smile, with the new design. And we have different presets for this for the video. You see, you can go 5 or 10 seconds. Then you can young female patient, young female patient veneers, male patient veneers, edentulous patient, patient with new smile, patient with new smile too. So we have different presets. You can create these videos, and afterwards you can show the patient the before and after, like this. You can show side by side, and you can show the video. And saving the case. Patient is now motivated. Patient wants more. Now we go to the 3D smile design. And it's also important to have the control about the design. With our simplified mockup, with a little bit of training, you can create the mockup, chair side, same appointment, print, and offer the patient the very beautiful experience of having new teeth, a new smile. For that, we need the following workflow. So do you have questions so far regarding the smile simulation, the motivational smile, and how that works? If not, so we have the picture and the intraoral scan, which we need to calibrate. That's the result of the calibration. So that's what we need from the picture and the intraoral scan, and that's calibrated with 3 points that you set on the intraoral scan and 3 points on the picture. You calibrate, and then you have here, you see the result of the calibration. You can correct a little bit the position of the calibration, and that's what we need for our 3D smile design. You can set the outlines so that you can correct and see better where the incisal edges are. And with this calibration, we can create now the smile. Very important, we can import, in our case, all the digital records that you have. We can import facial scans, also a beautiful way to create something special. We can import CBCT files. We have the bone, we have the angulation of the roots, we have everything what we need to make the decision for the treatment plan. We can import the Mojo movement files. So if you have if you record the movement of the jaw, we can also import the movement of the jaw. Let me show you. Maybe here. Let me show you when you have, for example, the CBCT, right? When you have the CBCT, then we see way more details. We have the, where are the roots? We have the roots, we have the angulation of the roots, we have the design based on the, with ortho. So we have a lot of information which is important for our smile design. But for now, we start with a simple mock-up. Now, the idea is really to have the option to create the mock-up, print chair side, and offer the patient this beautiful experience of the aesthetic treatment with the motivational mock-up. Based on this mock-up, if the patient likes the form and the size and everything, then you can continue the project and create the final treatment plan and the final design. So now the simplified mockup, it's a very straightforward workflow. We do have in the first screen the AI analysis of the occlusal curve of the patient. It comes back from the cloud and it shows you an ideal curve, the green one, and it shows you the patient's curve. Ideal curve has a symmetry, of course. Following the patient's curve, it is not symmetric. For the mockup, depending on what the patient is ready to do for the treatment, ortho, implants, and so on, we select the curve, or we select one, and then we can adjust to a later point when the treatment plan is set. So let's go with the patient's curve. Based on this occlusal curve, the 3D smile is going to be automatically generated. And as you can see, so my big vision is to automate as much as possible from everything that can be automated, to shorten the time of planning, of design, and everything. And you don't need to wait weeks for the mockup from your lab. You just design 10 minutes in chairside, you print, and then you can work with your lab in a better way because you have the details, you have the design, you have the approved smile design from the patient, and then everything is optimized. Number one, we will set the smile frame as a visual reference for the smile curve. And that's just a help, if you want to have a visual reference of for the smile, you can use this smile frame like this. Now we have the gingival margins. We have, you see, we have here different way to change the smile curve, occlusal plane. So you can set a very, very accurate visual reference for the 3D smile design. Buccal corridor, also very important. And we do have the symmetry, the facial thirds. If you have, for example, an edentulous patient, then you can use the facial thirds to define where the incisal edges should be in the face. You see, the nose here, and we're pretty close, you see, with the incisal edges of our new smile. So using the facial thirds rule, of course, the facial flow, and we go to step number 2, where the 3D smile design is generated. Now in the face of the patient, we have different templates that you can analyze. You can just like scroll through the through the templates. You see different forms, you see different gingival margins. You have here the 3D models of the templates. You can use the outlines. You can analyze, you see the outlines, the incisal edges, the embrasures. And you can select here different templates from, so different teeth from different templates. Sometimes, you can combine different teeth, so you don't need to go with one group of templates. You can combine and find out what works better for your patient, depending on so many criteria. But most important is, do we want round incisal embrasures? Do we want square? And of course, the gingival margins form of the patient play a very important role, because our templates have a certain gingival margin, you see, and then you need to follow these gingival margins or to find a template which is very close to the patient's gingival margin so that you get a very natural smile and you don't change heavily the templates. So you can select a group or you can select every single tooth one by one. Step number 3. We do have a very good start for our smile design. And now let's go a little bit into details. Small adjustments, nothing big because the initial position is pretty good. So we work, of course, to improve also more and more this initial position of the smile with AI, with more intraoral scan analysis. But as you can see, it looks already pretty good. I just need a little bit to match the gingival margins of the centrals here, like this. And we do have here some details regarding the interproximal spaces, but I think that's pretty good. Very important, we have in this view the cross-section. The cross-section as a quality control tool. We do have the cross-section, and we have here 2 values. Real 1.8 millimeters longer than the patient's tooth. Visual is 1.2. What is the difference between visual and real? In the frontal view, like this, in the frontal view, you see the height of the central like this. If there is an angulation, the height is from here to here, but this, what you see here, it's an angulated view, so it's not going to be the same value like this one. That's geometry, right? That's why we give you both values so that you know, oh, the central incisor now is longer 1.8 in real. Also very important information for your lab technician afterwards. Also, the canine. You see, real time. I move the canine in real time and I change the value in real time. Also, I see the gingival margins. I see how thick the thickness of the design is between the patient's tooth and my design. So in order to have a very thin design that feels like veneers, I can check, and 0.8 millimeter is fine. It's not a big, it's not a bulky design, right? Also, a trick, if the canine, for example, that's one thing, if the canine is way too round, I can decrease the depth and I change and I transfer the same value to the other canine with the reflect size. So I have many options to design my mock-up easy, quick, and pretty accurate. So here we go. That's my, if I know she wants some dominance in the smile, I can readjust the height of the laterals. Now, let's see here in the face. Also, very interesting if you see here some details. For example, with this central, if we always check face and the model design, then we can make the changes in the face, it's only 1-2 degrees, but that's a huge difference when it comes to the design of the centrals, right? 1 degree, 2 degrees, it looks eventually good on the model, but in the face, we see a shift, we don't like it. But then when we design our smile, considering the face, we have a different way to quality control and to create this harmony in the face. Step number 4, that's gonna be the final touch of our design. And we do have several options here. First, we have the liquefy option, and this liquefy option is a technology that I developed in order to keep the morphology of the teeth as in the best quality possible and to be able to do some adjustments, not destroying the morphology of the tooth. What I mean is deformation, liquefy, deformation on. So I do have 4 points. I click on 1 point, and now you can see I can change the embrasures, for example, of my tooth. I can bring the gingival margins very, very accurately in without destroying the morphology. Here also the same. Very, very easy to use, and I don't need to be an expert in some very special tools to, to adjust the margins. Also very important for if you design, for example, composite veneers, which you can do also with SmileFy, you can create the design for composite restorations. In order to have the design analyzed by SmileFy AI, we now analyze your design and the interproximal spaces. And you will see the interproximal spaces. For example, here we have problems. Here we have problems. You see, they are overlapping. You don't want the teeth to overlap. One click, correct, and it's done. So it's gonna be so quick, you cannot even breathe. So let me show you. Be very, very careful, because it's gonna be less than 1 second, and then the interproximal spaces are corrected. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now there is no more overlapping, and you can use now this design, for example, for composite veneers. You have clean interproximal spaces, very clean, so we don't cut the interproximal spaces over the overlapping. We revolume the mesh, and we create clean interproximal spaces like this. The mesh edit, very powerful option also. And let me show you some, the brushes, for example. You take a brush, for example, deform, and you can bring your gingival margins and adjust actually very, very easy and clean your mock-up design. Here we do have a huge problem with these two premolars, so we need to check what can be done with ortho. But for now, for our mock-up, we will just correct a little bit the form, and we will let one part of the tooth, the patient's tooth, and one part of the new design, which is a little bit like this. Okay. So as you can see, the brushes are very easy to use. The quality of the result with Don't destroy the morphology. We have different options here to adjust the final design. Let me show you, for example, flatten. You can like delete, right, what you don't want to have in your mockup. Inflate, you can bring more volume and inflate here your tooth, which in this case we don't want. You can smooth out, for example, here some edges, and it's done. Now, for the motivational mockup or the wax up, we don't want to have anything in the bite so that the patient feels, you know, all this material and cannot close the mouth and cannot talk. We have here this option, incisal adjustment wax up. You apply, and now we should automatically adjust the palatal area of our design in a way that is clean for the patient. So let me select this one. What happens here? Okay, this one is clean. That's, we can let me rebuild actually the premolars. Oh, let me see. Is there a question? In your case, it's additive case. How would it be if the case was reductive case and the teeth need to be prepared back? In other words, there is a way, of course. Yeah, just, yeah. Okay. Let me answer this question and go into detail. So we can reconstruct here the premolars like this using this deform tool. And you can use the flatten option here to also delete, for example, from this motivational mockup, parts that you don't want into your mockup. Like here, you can delete. Good. Apply. That's the mockup. Now, what is the difference between motivational mockup, additive, and the ideal design, which can be additive and subtractive, right? So if we design, for example, a subtractive case, we want to have the ideal occlusal curve. The subtractive case will be like this. So we try to set the incisal edges, and we try to bring the smile as close to the patient incisal edges. In this case, we need ortho, but nevertheless, that would be more or less, for example, the way we will design the smile, keeping the incisal edges of the patient on the occlusal curve. And now these parts that you see going out of the design, these parts need to be prepped away, which means you make space for the veneer material, right? Here, depending on the material, you create this ideal mock-up. You put the mock-up in the mouth of the patient. That's a beautiful workflow created by a dentist. Oh my God, I have the study. I think I have the study somewhere. I need to send you the email. With the whole study and the minimal invasive preparation for the ceramic restorations. So now you have the ideal design. You need to prep this area, and you will prep this area based on the material that you need to use for your restorations. So if you go with zirconia, you need to prep 0.4 because you need to mill. If you go with composite veneers, you can use a smaller burst and to prep less, because composite can be done very, very thin, depending on what you do. A guide, a prep guide, right now we cannot create a prep guide out of the design. But nevertheless, if you create the ideal design, you prep through the mock-up, and then you get the space that you need for your veneers and for your restorations. Good. So what did I do here? Okay, so let me finalize the design. We do have the 3D rendering. So usually you put now the smile in the mouth of the patient like this, with the structure of ceramics and the teeth. You can select Vita colors and bring the smile very, very close to the patient's color. And in step number 6, you can create a mock-up. Means we unify now all the files, and we create one file which is printable. We close the mesh so that it's watertight and printable, and then you can print the mock-up and put the mock-up in the mouth of the patient. Oh, of course, the cross-section of a subtractive case. Yes. So let's wait until the app is calculating the closed. So minimal invasive ceramic restorations. Galip Gurel, a Turkish dentist, the pioneer in smile design, the pioneer in minimal invasive dentistry. So, and he has a beautiful study where the ideal mock-up is created, then you prep through the mock-up based on the material that you want to use, and then you have a very minimal invasive prep, and on top you make space for your veneer, composite restorations, or ceramic restorations based on this design. So the times where you just prep the teeth heavily and you let you prep a very big amount of the tooth is over, because now with new workflows and new technologies, you have really so many beautiful ways to minimally prep the patient. And let me show you something. The cross section, right? The cross section with the design. Okay. Good. Cross section. So here we go. And then you create the ideal design, which is subtractive. And then you have something like this. Right? Or here. But for the motivational mockup now, here is actually the idea to create a quick design, 3D design, to print the mockup like this, and then to put the mockup in the mouth of the patient. I made a mistake here. As you can see, this lateral is way too high. So I need to correct, but let's save the case and then go to the to the next project, the automated 3D design, where we have a lot of stuff like smile analysis, like cross-section analysis, and so on. And then we can really create the smile in every smallest detail of a perfect treatment plan and aesthetic plan. So, you know, it is a learning curve, but we never start with the most complicated case. So we do have, I'm going to show you at the end, we do have a very structured course. And I can promise you, if you follow our course and you design one case a day, you will be able to control your designs, control your cases, and really optimize the whole communication with the lab, because you do have the um, you do have the smile design and all the treatment details under your control, and then it's very easy to communicate with your lab technician. Of course, we do have a lot of options and a lot of stuff, but we will never, start with the most complicated case. We need to start easy, and then with every single case, grow the expertise and grow our stuff. So you can use every single intraoral scanner. You just export an intraoral scan, the intraoral scan as an OBJ, PLY, or STL, and you can import the scanners in SmileFy. Every scanner works. We do have the Medit direct connection. We do have the Tree-Shape direct connection, and we integrate now All Stars, and we are integrating also Shining 3D. So then you can, from Shining 3D, you can export or import the scans directly into SmileFy. About the learning curve, we do have the course, we do have the integration consultants, and they will go with you step by step in every single detail. And you will, of course, grow with every single case. And we offer full support, because we want you actually to have control about your cases, about your designs, and that's the way to go. Of course, everything what we do is always improving the automation. So it's going to be more automation, more automation, more automation, and it's going to be easier for you. But that's a very, very long process, because we integrate 40 years of expertise in the area of smile design, and now we can talk about all this stuff in this more advanced piece of our design. Okay, so we open the case now in the full version of the 3D smile design. We do have here the segmentation. Means that now what we have done in the cloud automatically, without that was done the same second we saved the case. Let me go here. What have we done here? We have segmented the teeth, and now we have the original scan with the segmented teeth, and that's a problem. So I select this tooth, I select rotation, and I have the false rotation here. Let me see. Here we go. I correct the position. Decentral, also not ideal. Of course, when we would have the CBCT, that would be perfect, because then we have the roots, we have the orientation, the axial angulation, we have everything, and then it's easier for us to prepare actually the design. So we can even move this lateral a little bit in, this canine a little bit in, mesial. Oh, this premolar, not ideal. So we move it here. Okay. And now I can show the patient and say, dear patient, the thing is, your teeth are not in the ideal position. I propose an ortho treatment. It's a very small one. You see, it's nothing big, nothing crazy. But if we bring your teeth in the correct position in an ideal occlusal curve, we can create your aesthetic treatment in a way more stable way, number one. Number two, minimal invasive. Number three, if we have the CBCT, we see the axial angulations of your teeth. So we will create the design based on the ideal angulation and ideal axial angulation. So your veneers, your crowns are going to be protected from huge pressure created by the wrong axial angulation. Now, when we bring the smile design on top, we can now create the ideal design by moving, you see that, oops, oh, that was the wrong one. I need to select the tooth. By moving now the tooth in the ideal position, I keep the incisal edges. And now I see it's way less to prep than before, right? Now I can change my design from the motivational mockup to an for ceramic restorations here. Also, important to know and to understand, if we do the ortho treatment and we keep the incisal edges, we have to consider in the process of smile design, we have to consider the lip support. So if I bring a design which is bulky, which pushes my lip forward, it changes the face of the patient. So if I have a design which is very close to the initial position of the patient, then I have the lip support preserved, right, from the initial position. Paulo Cano, a Brazilian dentist, a legend in smile design, a legend in ceramics and using shapes. He introduced the video protocol of the patient. So Paulo Cano is really a legend in smile design. And he showed me a case. He presents this case in many congresses and all the events. Young female patient came, I want new veneers, I want Botox, because the lip is not symmetric. The upper lip was not symmetric. On one side, the upper lip was pushed up. CBCT, intraoral scan, the composite veneers that she had, the canine here was not following a set occlusal curve. It was done manually, and the canine was like this. You see? Bulky pushes the lip forward. The lip is not symmetric. The patient doesn't know. The patient wants a Botox treatment to just synchronize the right and left side of the lip. It wasn't necessary. It was just the smile design, which was not done properly. And then with the occlusal curve, you make sure you have exactly, you follow exactly the incisal edges and the lip support of the patient. Now we have a complete different situation, right? We have the ortho treatment. It's very visual. We can now explain to the patient, look, in order to create a very minimal invasive treatment plan, new design, new veneers, crowns, whatever it will be, we need several steps. We need an ortho treatment to realign the teeth properly, minimal invasive preparation, and then creating the ceramics for your new smile design, in which we will correct the gaps, we will correct the form, the incisal edges, and so on. That's the ideal design, in which you see the areas that needs to be prepped. And now let's go to a very, very important step that is unique in the software of Smile Design, and it's the smile analysis. So I think SmileFy is the only platform that has the smile analysis. Of course, it's automated, but it's so important for us to analyze and to see every single detail of our design. Number one, smile proportions. Preston, red proportion. Our patient is more in the red proportion. She's not in the golden proportion. So you do have a visual reference to create a smile design based on the Preston red or golden proportion by showing the visual reference of the smile. And if you have the space between the canine and canine to bring the smile in the red proportion, then you can design, you see, you can design it here and make sure that your smile is following the red proportion. All these proportions are, so it's not gonna be exactly, exactly the proportion, exactly the line, because we don't have the space, but we can play with the tolerance between our centrals, laterals, and canines, and we can bring this harmony towards the red proportion. And the closer we get, the bigger the harmony, the facial harmony, right? Okay, that's one aspect of our smile design. We did the facial thirds already. So the facial thirds, we use the facial thirds to check where the incisal edges of the central can be. That's fine. And now we have the facial analysis with the facial flow. And we do have the zenith analysis. The zenith analysis is the distance between the central, laterals, and canines, and the angulation between these points. We try to get as close as possible from the right to the left side, because what we want to achieve is a symmetry in the gingiva. If we don't have, for example, the same distance between the zenith of the central and the canine, then we consider a gingivectomy or a gums correction. So we will never just create, if the patient has a gum recession, right, on the canine, you will never design a veneer that goes 30% bigger, higher than on the other side, because that doesn't look good. You want the most natural smile possible for your patient. Good, that's the zenith analysis. So we want all these angulations, all these distances to be as close as possible from the right to the left side, zenith analysis. Then we go with the ideal design, and that's the axial angulation of your teeth, of your design. You see, this canine, for example, is 1.8. This one is 1.1. If you want to have the same axial angulations of the laterals of the canines, for example, then you can modify and you make sure that the angulation of your canine, for example, is the same, because that's what you want to achieve. We have 1, we have 0.6. So I'm going to modify like this. And now my canines have the same axial angulation. Very important. But here is something that is interesting, because I need to check with this reflect angulation option. It should be transferred, actually, the axial angulation from one canine to the other, because I don't want to do it manually. That's for sure not my deal. So we need to automate more. Axial angulation, super important. I want to have the same axial angulation on both sides, so that I have a very, very symmetric smile. Also, the premolars, I can correct here the premolar. This one is a little bit too much. So I need to turn off the ortho, because that's in my way. The ortho teeth, here we go. And now I can 1.3, 0.7, 0.6. But now you see both premolars have 0.6, 0.7. And now I'm very close with the buccal corridor of my premolars for the same axial angulation. These details are small, but so important for the final facial harmony and final facial energy that you create with a new smile. Good. Measurements. I do want to know how big are my centrals compared to the patient's centrals. 1.7, 9, 1.5. Good. I want to see the ratio. The ratio for both teeth should be the same. Centrals are the most important pillars, right, in the smile design. You want to have the same ratio, same size, same form, exactly the same rotation. Centrals are the most important, because you see the centrals in the smile immediately. Same ratio. Here we could correct a little bit with the gingivectomy and bring our smile higher, so that the ratio is the same. Good. How do I create now an ideal smile design and simulate everything what I want to do? By modifying the intraoral scan with the brushes. Means I can now digitally prep my smile. I can simulate the gingivectomy, flatten here. So I reduce. That's a digital prep. Now I delete everything what is actually needs to be prepped, like this. Also, deform. I want to have the same size of the centrals following the gingival margins of my templates. Here we go. I can modify and I can simulate the gingivectomy. And now it looks better. Here also. So now I have some options to bring symmetry in my design, to digital prep my design, to adjust every single detail of my gingival margins and everything, and apply. Now I have, as you can see, here I didn't finish the gingival margins, but you got the idea, right? Now I have several layers of my design. So you don't need to worry about duplicating layers, about duplicating stuff, because SmileFy is duplicating everything. You see, it's already duplicated. So as soon as you modify something, we duplicate, we create for you the layers, and now you can compare and say, okay, that's the original intraoral scan, that's the meshed one. So we have here a gingivectomy where the central gingival margins are symmetric. We have here the digital prep. You can show these areas needs to be cut. But if we use the ortho treatment, then we don't need to prep anything because the teeth are in the right position, and then we can even create a very minimal invasive case. You can play with the roundness of this template by reducing the depth. So here we go. What options do we have in advanced? In advanced, we have the cross section, and that's the big feature of the cross section. And we can select here everything. We can select here the segments. We can select the mesh maxilla, and now we see, oh, I have a different gingival margins. So with our gingivectomy, I push the gingival margin 0.8 millimeter higher on the central. We do have the ortho segments. If we have the CBCT, then we have the bone, we have the bone margin, we have the biological width. We can really measure everything very, very precisely and create, like, I can show you here in my presentation, here. So that's also a case. But having the CBCT, now I have the roots, I have the root angulation of my teeth. Then I can put the design on top. That's the corrected position. That's the initial position. You see, that's the initial position of the teeth. Premolar, lateral, centrals. The corrected one, I design on top. And then I have the bone. I have the new gingiva margin, 1.7. So with the gingivectomy, I create it's a crown lengthening case. I do have the design with the axial angulations. So with the CBCT, of course, we can go very, very clinical and very, very deep into treatment plan. But again, that's the highest level, right? The highest level of treatment. We start step by step so that we learn all the options that we have, airways, palatal measurements, and airways, right? So when we move the teeth, we want to make sure that we move the teeth, but we get the palatal width that we need in order to get the low risk index for airways. And all this stuff is the advanced treatment plan where we measure, okay, the root, the new position of the root, the initial position of the root, how much space do I have to the bone, angulation, and so on. It's a lot automated. It's going to be more automated, but it's important to have in one workflow, in one app, I want to have everything. I want to have the simulation. I have to the motivational mock-up, the ideal design. I want to have the ortho planning. I want to have the airways. Everything is connected. So I cannot plan properly when I need 5 softwares for one treatment plan. But when I have all the information in one space and I know exactly position of the teeth, axial angulation, ideal design, minimal invasive, airways, index, palatal index, measurements, and so on, then I can treatment plan in a very, very minimal invasive, and the quality of my thinking, of my planning is another level. And that's what we achieve with technology, with automation, and bringing all this information and expertise and detail into an automated system. Because even with the expertise of aesthetic studies, right? We talk about 40 years of studies, ratio, facial flow, um, red proportion, golden proportion, Preston proportion. So Marcelo Calamita has a beautiful book describing all the aesthetic parameters, and now they are automated in SmileFy, and we have access to all this stuff in order to. So no, SmileFy is not included with the DEXI scanner, but it's connected to the DEXI scanner. So you can send your scans directly to SmileFy, and then it creates the patient, it creates everything, and then you can just open the case and start designing. So if you are interested in all these expertise and the programs that we have, I want to show you something. Here we go. So our dentists are very, very focused on aesthetics, of course, and you can do composite restorations really chairside, and you can have a lot of cases with the composite restorations because it's a very easy procedure. If it's an additive case, even quicker. You have the control over the design, and you can do a lot of stuff chairside. For, of course, ceramic veneers, pressed veneers, and all this other stuff, you have a very, very good platform to communicate with your lab technician and, take over the design and then prepare everything. We have for you a complete course, digital and in person, but we will help you step by step. Easy cases, and then grow your expertise with every single case. And we do have this special offer for you. So for this webinar, we have a $400 off for the plan. Let me give you the plan in the promo code in the chat. So if you are interested, you can here start with the pro plan. So all the features, you get $400 off, and the online course and the online support of our integration consultants, where we will start with the visual communication, with the AI video, with the printed models, printed mock-ups, composite veneers, and so on. The next level, it's going to be ortho airways design. So it's going to be smile design driven by ortho and ortho driven by smile design, depending on how severe the case is. But that's going to be then the next level of multidisciplinary and comprehensive treatment plan. You can have here, let me send you also this link in the chat. You have here all the details. all the details regarding the different cases that you can plan, the different designs, and of course our the technology that is uh, with full features, full updates. So we never charge for updates. All the updates are included in the yearly license, and all the new features like this AI video that we have integrated, everything is included always in the yearly fee. And you get the online implementation course, which I think starts next week. And we will go very structured through every single step of the designs and everything what I showed you. So do you have questions? We will send the recording to everyone after we stop. And otherwise, we will also be in Australia for an in-live course. We will be in New Zealand for a live course, and in Vietnam for a live course. So the next months until February. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful evening. Of course, yeah, we provide support for your cases. So the first cases that you do with your patients, we can discuss. We can discuss before, and you know, help you providing the full design and everything for your patient. Do you have option for of only STL model export? No, it's STL OBJ. So we export OBJs and you can print. So our projects are open. So whatever you design, you can export. You have access to all files, and then you can print and export. So we're gonna have two courses in Australia. We're gonna be in Melbourne and in Sydney, but that's gonna be in February 2026. Yes. Yeah. You can do the veneers, you can do the ortho. I didn't show you now the veneers because that's a little bit more complicated in this for this presentation. That's a little bit more advanced, but let me show you here now. If you go to advanced and to the CAD features, you can mark the margins. You can mark the margins if you have the scan prep, and then you can create veneers and you can print them. And based on the printed veneers, you can try on the new smile and do a lot of stuff. Good. So you have, we will send you the email with the recording and with, of course, with the courses and with our offer. I wish you a beautiful evening or day, depending on where you are in the world. And hopefully I see you in one of our next courses, online or in person. How is different from Exocad Smile Design? So Exocad Smile Design is works on Windows. Exocad has introduced now the picture with the intraoral scan in the latest update. We have innovated actually the Smile Design since 2017, and we never design without a picture. It's way more automated, it's simpler. It works on iPhone, it works on iPad, it works on Mac, so you can do it chair side with your iPad. And we do have all the smile analysis and all the automation that I showed you. That's the difference between Exocad and us. So we do have all these smile analysis, all the expertise, the automation, the segmentation. It's automated in the smile design, so it's less manual work and it's simpler. Yes, if you, of course. So if you want a free trial, we can offer you a free trial. We will send you an email with all the details so you can register, you can activate your account for a free trial, and then at least you know the smile simulation is going to be super easy. You can watch a video and then do some smile simulations, and you get the feeling, you know, how everything works, how the platform works, and you can try a little bit with your staff members. Before you go to the patient, please try with the staff members 2-3 smiles, and then in front of the patient, and not directly in front of the patient, because then it's going to be a little bit more stressful when you try to find out where the buttons are. But if you do 2-3 smiles with your staff members, then you have the confidence, and you can do it with your patient. Okay. Good. So thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure presenting for you, and hopefully I see you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.